Lost Girls is a powerful and thought-provoking film that shines a light on the often overlooked issue of missing and murdered women. It's a movie that will stay with you long after the credits roll. Marie Gilbert is a hardworking single mother who takes care of her family by working multiple jobs in New York. She has 3 daughters, but her oldest daughter, Shanann, has already moved out of the house. Marie's middle daughter, Sherry, and her youngest daughter, Sarah, who has psychiatric issues and is on mood stabilizers, still live with her. Marie and Sherry grow worried when Shanann, who planned on coming home for dinner one night, doesn't show up. Days pass with no word from Shanann, and when the police don't seem to be doing anything to find her, Marie and Sherry take matters into their own hands. They start searching for Shanann themselves, and through her phone records, they discover that she had a boyfriend and a driver. Their investigation leads them to the shocking discovery that Shanann was working as a prostitute in Long Island. After a bad experience with a client, Shanann made a 911 call. Marie meets with local detective Dean Bostick, loving the name, hoping to get his help in finding her daughter, but he believes that Shanann will turn up and that she isn't actually missing. Despite Marie's insistence that something is wrong, Bostick right here doesn't take her seriously. Later, an officer lets his dog out to do its business on the side of the highway, but little did he know that his furry friend was about to lead him to a discovery that would send shockwaves through the entire community. The dog picked up a scent off the parkway and led the officer to a spot where multiple bodies were buried. Commissioner Richard Dormer addressed the media, careful not to draw any conclusions, but the gravity of the situation was not lost on anyone. As the search for more bodies continued, Marie felt ignored and frustrated by the lack of progress. Despite Commissioner Dormer's reassurances that none of the bodies found were her daughters, Marie couldn't help but feel like she had been pushed to the sidelines. Now, as the media began to report on a possible serial killer in the loose, Marie decided to take matters into her own hands. She printed out missing posters and dressed up in her best clothes to march down to the police department. With a poster for every day that her daughter had been missing, Marie was determined to raise hell until someone listens to her. Marie has been hesitant to join the other victims' families, but eventually gave in to their insistence. As they gathered at a restaurant, Marie met the other grieving mothers and siblings, including Lorraine, Lynn, and Kim, who was a former working girl and sister of one of the victims. While the other mothers seemed content with the newfound attention their missing loved ones were receiving, Marie's anger boiled over. She spoke up, urging them to make noise and to not let the police neglect their cases any longer. Together, Marie and the family members embarked on a mission to cover the private neighborhood of Shanann's last call with missing posters. However, their actions did not go unnoticed as the neighbors soon began to complain. Within just 10 minutes of the uproar, Detective Dormer right here showed up on the scene, which Marie found ironic since it had taken the police an hour to respond when Shanann had called for help. Dormer seemed to have little patience for Marie's anger, accusing her of feeling guilty about Shanann's foster care upbringing, but Marie would not be deterred. She boldly confronted Dormer, revealing that she knew he had bungled one of his previous cases. Marie then gets a call from Joe, a local with sensitive information that could change everything. He insists on meeting her in secret, so they arrange a meeting place. Joe shares his suspicions about Dr. Peter Hackett and his involvement in the disappearance of Shanann. Marie remembers receiving a call from a doctor on the day Shanann vanished, and now it all seems to add up. Desperate to get to the bottom of this, Marie heads straight to Dormer and this other useless guy. Although this guy is dismissive of Marie's efforts to act like an investigator, Dormer insists that they follow up on the information she has received. Meanwhile, Sherry discovers that Kim has returned to work on Craigslist, raising more questions and suspicions. The search for Shanann continues, and the police expand their efforts to the beach. Dormer takes charge and interviews Dr. Hackett, questioning why he failed to provide the police with security footage from his home on the night of Shanann's disappearance. As the investigation progresses, Joe shares his belief that his attack on Shanann was more complicated than he initially thought, which may explain why her body was not found with those of the other victims. This useless guy delivers a bombshell to Dormer when he reveals that the bodies of the victims have been buried for a staggering 15 years. Determined to get ahead of the story, Dormer goes on live TV and announces to the media that Shanann, although still considered a missing person, is not part of the serial killer investigation. Dormer explains that she does not fit the profile of the other victims in terms of location and circumstances of death. Marie is filled with fury as Dormer dismisses her concerns. She knows that none of the other girls would be found if it weren't for Shanann. Dormer insists that he is only following the evidence, but Marie feels that something is not right. Sherry overhears their conversation and confronts Marie about sending Shanann to foster care. She thought the state took Shanann away. Marie explains that Shanann was bipolar and endangering herself, and she didn't know what to do. Marie is at a loss, and the pain of losing Shanann is still fresh in her mind. As the event ends, Marie says a tearful goodbye to Kim, knowing that their lives will never be the same again. 1 year passes, and Joe calls Marie to inform her that Dr. Hackett is moving away. Marie knows she needs to act fast if she is ever going to find out the truth about Shanann's disappearance. So she goes to Dormer, who is about to retire, and demands to know why they haven't searched the nearby marsh. She is frustrated that Shanann's jacket has never been tested, but Dormer tells her that since she wasn't officially missing at the time it was lost, there was nothing they could do, because they're useless. She threatens to go on the news, but Dormer realizes that he has one last chance to make things right. He decides to have the marsh drained before he leaves his job, finally giving Marie some closure after all these years. The marsh was finally drained, but the discovery made was far from what anyone had hoped for. Shanann's lifeless body was found, and it was a devastating moment for everyone involved in the search for her. Marie and Sherry went to see Shanann's remains, and Marie whispered to her that she was taking her home. It was a heart-wrenching scene that left everyone in tears. The families gathered in town for the 1-year anniversary to remember Shanann and support Marie in her fight for justice. Marie went on TV and demanded accountability for herself and the police for letting down these girls. She was a woman on a mission, determined to get to the bottom of what happened to her daughter and the other victims. After much investigation, an independent autopsy was conducted, and it contradicted the police report. It confirmed that Shanann died of homicidal strangulation, and there was no evidence of drugs in her system. The Long Island serial killer was still out there, and the number of victims attributed to him ranged from 10 to 16. Phone records confirmed that Marie received a call from Dr. Hackett, and she filed a wrongful death suit against him. Real news footage of Marie played, and she was a force to be reckoned with. The postscript revealed that in 2016, Sarah had a psychotic episode after going off her schizophrenia medication. Marie tried to intervene, but tragically she was killed. It was a heartbreaking ending to an already devastating story. Sherry remained an advocate fighting for justice, and her courage was a beacon of hope for everyone affected by this tragedy. And so this was the story of Lost Girls. See you in the next hunt.